All right, I'd like to call to order the Milan Area Schools Board of Education regular meeting for Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. Would everyone please rise as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you to everyone attending this evening, as well as those who will be watching the recording. We should have sound on the recording this evening. I apologize for the lack of sound at the last meeting. We will start with communications and community engagement and public comments. Just a reminder that this meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public meeting. There are 2 times for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. When addressing the board, you will be asked to state your name. The board determines the amount of time granted to individuals or groups to speak. Each person shall be allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes. Board members may question speakers but are not obligated to answer questions or make statements or commitments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such items will be referred to the superintendent for advisement, investigation, study, and/or recommendation, or designated as future agenda items for board consideration. Are there any students who'd like to address the board? So just make sure I press the green button on that little stand in front of you. On the microphone, yep, there you go.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Yana Loring. I'm a senior at MHS, who is a bisexual trans woman. I've come to address the board with a simple statement. You are failing me and our queer students in Milan. And to show you that, I will describe my own experiences here on Milan. During the end of my junior year, I used the women's bathroom. That caused multiple people to go to the office to ask why I was in there. The only line of defense that was there for me to use the bathroom was that Milan is following the head of education and what the head of education in Michigan has said. Iana can use whatever bathroom she feels is closest to her gender. I want the board to know that this is only going to work once. So I asked the board to consider adding a rule that our academic neighbors have. This rule protects trans students' rights to use the bathroom they identify with. I'll be in contact with the information about how the board could implement it. The second example of how I feel I was failed was from this year. I decided I would take gym class this year. When it came time to choose a changing room locker, I walked into the women's changing room. 3 days later, I was called into the office and informed how me using a changing room was making people uncomfortable. I heard multiple reasons why I wouldn't be using the women's changing room if I kept doing gym. But one reason stuck with me. To keep things from getting political. My existence is not political. Me using a changing room isn't a political statement. It is a simple human necessity to take a gym class. I was given ways to fix the problem. The main one was I could carry my gym clothes around with me every day and change in the staff bathroom. I would be the only student inconveniencing myself in such a way. The final thing I was told to try to convince me was that it would build character. For when a teen is being told that discrimination builds character, I truly feel something went wrong to have that be advice. I want to also make a point that all these actions were not the greatest way to handle this. For lack of a better word, you got lucky with this happening to me. I have many people in and out of school that support me, but sometimes a student doesn't have that. With the way things were handled, if a different trans student went through what I did and didn't have the support I have, they'd probably hurt themselves or worse. I don't want to leave this on a bitter note. Nothing gets done if I just yell at you. So I'd like to inform the board about something that I feel you can do to help. 2 weeks ago, the new Milan GSA had its first meeting. We had 2 people show up and had a discussion on what we want the GSA club to achieve moving forward. We decided our goals would be to create a club environment that fosters a queer space, teaches students in the club how to advocate for queer spaces and people after they graduate, and to inform the students of Milan about queer topics. Should I stop
Nope, you can keep going.
Now, my request is for you to stand firmly for this club to exist in Milan. This club is crucial to MHS as any other sports team or extracurricular activity. This club will be the most important part in shaping the future of many students like me. I hope you will all consider my words when you walk out of here today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. You're going to follow up with an email? Is that what you said? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Please do. It's on the website. It's the Board of Education at milanarea.schools.org. Are there any other students who'd like to address the board?
Hi, I'm Zoe Tapke, a sophomore at Milan High School. I wanted to bring up one of my teachers who has made me feel so comfortable in her classroom. Mrs. Bagnall, previously Miss Duca, is an amazing teacher. In my freshman year, my algebra teacher, Mr. Steenquist, he was a very good teacher. He was very respectful, but in my opinion, he didn't quite meet my needs of teaching. So when I needed extra help, I would go to Miss Duca at the time, and she helped me really, really much. And this year, I was so happy to have her as my teacher. Sorry. Mrs. Bagnall explains things very well. She helps students with really anything that they need. She's a really wonderful, trusted adult. She sets a timer in the front of her classroom to try and keep kids on track. And I think that is very, I'm not sure what the word is, but very, positive kind of thing, trying to keep her students on track, keeping them on time with how they are working, but obviously adds time if needed. She writes on the paper as we are working to take notes and try and help us learn better. She waits to see if anyone has questions. She waits a very long time, actually, like 2 to 3 minutes. It's amazing. She talks with students about their weekends, how wonderful she is a trusted adult. She gives us constant reassurance that we are smart enough and that we can do it. And she also checks in on us to make sure that we're doing okay. And I could go on for a very long time about this teacher, and I could in emails and everything like that, but this teacher is amazing, and I wanted you guys to know that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Feel free to email us as well with some of those. Thank you. I appreciate it. Are there any other students who'd like to address the board? I appreciate you guys coming up to talk to us this evening. I greatly appreciate it both. Are there any public members who'd like to address the board? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Amanda Tapke, Zoe's mother. I want to say thank you. This year has so far been very different compared to years past. We've had a couple minor issues that were taken care of very quickly. I was so happy to see that. And I don't know what it is this year, but both of my kids, being in high school, are very happy. So I don't know what it is. Don't know, not saying change it, but I just want to say thank you. And especially seeing Zoe, considering where we were a few years ago, she has grown, and I want to thank everybody for supporting her and giving her that boost, kick in the butt, whatever, whatever you want to call it, because it's helped tremendously, and she's making me very proud, and I'm not the only one who has played a part in that, and I realize that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I think great words for our administrators to hear and pass on to our staff. Thank you. Are there others? Okay, we will move on to routine matters for approval. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 10th, 2025.
Moved by Burdette.
Support by Gutierrez.
So moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 10th, 2025. Are there any questions, concerns? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve minutes of the regular meeting September 10th, 2025. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Heike,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
and motion carries 7-0.
Next, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting closed session of September 10th, 2025.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Murray.
So moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting closed session of September 10th, 2025. Again, those are in the envelopes in front of you. Pass them in if there's no concerns. All right. It's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting closed session of September 10th, 2025. Ms. Murray?
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike,
Yes.
motion carries 7-0.
All right. Now we will move on to strategic plan business in the area of academic programs. We do have two special guests with us this evening to give us a community and adult education community adult education and FCI program update. This is one of the things that Superintendent McMahon has worked with us to start having these presentations come in front of us from the various programs of the schools. So we're very happy to have you folks give a presentation to us this evening. So take it away.
Well coordinated.
I am not used to using a microphone, so I don't know. Okay. Okay. So I am Carrie Mink, and this is Connie Cox, and we run the adult ed and community programs for Milan area schools, and they're diverse. So Connie represents one facet and I represent another facet. So we're going to kind of back and forth to talk about what we do and what we offer.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for having us here today. Like Carrie said, we both are the same department, but we work in different places and with different people. So I run the community ed department here that is located now at Milan High School. We were located at the middle school and we recently got moved over. I wanted to give you a little background on adult ed since I've been, this really dates me, but I've been in this my 36th year at Milan area schools in adult ed. And it was established in 1977. Phil Barnes started the community ed program. I don't know if anybody recognizes that name, but he was a very great man. I love Phil Barnes. He was a coach here. He was a middle school principal, the athletic director, and then he also was the community ed director. He started community ed and adult ed here. So
And I think he might be inducted to the MHSA.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He has
Yep.
been inducted too. And he was a referee too. He loved to go and ref games, and he started baseball teams. He was just on everything. So Phil was a great guy. But when we first started, we were at the middle school and we ran the child care department. We had adult ed. We had adult ed at the FCI, the Celine Ford plant, the Technical Rules Violators Center, and then we also had enrichment classes for the community. So it was a pretty large department back then. It was pretty awesome. Phil wore a lot of different hats, obviously, and all of us still do in adult ed. So it's interesting. Right now we're running online classes, blended learning classes, and in-person classes. We still run our classes on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. We have night school going on right now as we speak. I just left there. So anyway, in our program, we've given out over 3,000 high school diplomas and over 800 GED certificates combined. So that's pretty good. In 1977, when the department started, adult ed statewide had $185 million to use and spend. And as of last year, adult ed had $22 million. That's how many times we've been cut. Carrie and I just attended a rally in Lansing this summer for adult ed. I've been to many rallies since I've been here so long now. We fought and fought and fought for this department and for adult ed in the state. And I'm proud to say, since 1977, that's 48 years we've been in business now. So that's pretty awesome. There's more than 500,000 working age adults in Michigan who do not have a high school diploma. More than 230,000 of those are not in the labor force. 35,000 are unemployed, and 124,000 are on public assistance. In the 23-24 school year, 31,000 Michiganders were enrolled in adult ed, and more than 15,000 of them enrolled in adult basic ed, which means they're learners below the 8th grade level. Now I'm going to let Carrie talk a little bit about her program, and then I'll get back to some more.
I think this is on the handout you have, but if other people don't have it, I'd like to read it, the graduation sheet. So, this was written by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. We are the only high school in a federal prison in the United States. So we're this teeny little diamond in the sky as far as we're concerned. And last year, we had the head of the Bureau of Prisons come visit us, and she and her entourage were really impressed with the whole programming and the idea of helping people reenter society with skills so that they stay out, and that's a big emphasis. So in that, there was a little note that they put at a national level on their website, and I'd like to read it. During the Milan High School ceremony, Eli Savitt, prosecuting attorney for Washtenaw County, spoke to all those in attendance. He addressed the students directly about redemption, second chances, and building a successful life upon release from prison. He highlighted his office work with returning citizens to include an individual who was incarcerated for 47 years, that took advantage of educational programming while inside, and was then preparing for the bar exam. And he got a job with the prosecutor's office. So that's, talk about a 180-degree turn. 13 students graduated from Milan High School that year and earned the right to be called high school graduates. The adult education program offered by the Milan School District is unique to the Bureau of Prisons. FCI Milan is the only institution that offers a traditional high school setting. The high school program has been in continuous operation since 1977 and began with only 2 students. I have the graduation picture of them in my office. It looks very dated too. It's black and white and everything. The program has evolved through the years to include class offerings which range from life skills, traditional academics, fine arts, to the industrial arts. The current focus is on workforce development and coursework based off the Michigan Merit Curriculum, which is instructed by 4 certified Milan High School teachers. In addition to earning their high school diploma, students are preparing for higher level vocational training, such as auto VT, or continuation of their educational studies in the Jackson College Associate Degree Program, which is offered on site. Since 1977, although you gave the total combination, more than 900 students have graduated from our program. And down the road, I'm going to read some excerpts, but when we have our graduation program, what we do is we have a really wonderful, positive event happen in a horrible place. And the, sorry, the students are allowed to bring up to 5 family members in. We go to the visiting room. We have a speech by a guest, and then we have the superintendent's speech and the warden's speech, and then they are handed their diplomas. And then after that, they get time to visit with their family, and their family gets to celebrate what happened. I can't tell you how many mothers come and are crying because finally they're able to do that. And so it's neat, one, to see the support they get from their family, but also they are supporting their family. I was speaking to a student today and pointing out the higher his education level is, the higher his children's education level will be. It is a wonderful ripple effect in a positive way that we are helping the community when we help these individuals. And I'm very proud of it, so I wanted to describe it. Did you want to go next?
I just wanted to mention, that two of our former graduates from my program here at the school now work at Milan High School. And when Carrie talked about workforce development, that's what the state is pushing us to do anyway. And I think that's just a really great thing to say that we got two done and they're working now. And I see them in the halls and they're always, hey, Mrs. Cox, it's a really good feeling to know that students are doing so well when they left. And then at our graduation, we did have a student receive the Michigan Seal of Biliteracy, so we do help in that area too. And then we had another student who she was incarcerated and got out, and her goal was to get her high school diploma, and she did do that. And we do have a thing every year. It's a tradition where we have the students who graduate write something about how they feel about graduating finally. And we publish it in our booklet that we pass out at graduation, and everybody gets to read that. But it's very touching to read some of their stories and what they went through in order to get done. So I am going to read one for you and let you know what she said. It's very heartwarming. It took her a long time to get done, but I'll tell you what she said. She said, I can't believe this day is finally here. I've worked so hard for the 3 years I've been with Milan High School Adult Ed while committing to a 40-hour-a-week job. 9 years ago, I had nothing to offer anyone, not my children, not my family, and definitely not society. By the grace of God, I went to prison. I served 4 years off a 10-year sentence, and in prison is where I found freedom from my addiction and met God. He met me there and healed me and helped me forgive myself. Today, I'm very blessed beyond measure. My children have shown me so much grace and love. At times, it's overwhelming. I will never stop sharing how God brought me from death to life. I set goals when I was released from prison, and I have met every one of them. With all my hard work and dedication, I was able to conquer another goal of going back to school and getting my high school diploma. I wouldn't have been able to do it without my children and my family rooting me on, and for that I am grateful. I would like to thank all my teachers who were there for me to answer my questions and emails in a timely manner. I'm so grateful to you all. Thank you for providing a Milan adult education. I would highly recommend it, and it was an amazing experience for me. I'm very proud of myself, and I can do it. Anyone can, because it is never too late. So that was one of our really nice success stories from this year, and I just wanted to share that.
So I attended that graduation and read that and asked her if I could read that to our students at the FCI, and she was happy for me to share. So it's like chokes me up because I read it to all of our students and it meant so much to them. It's very hard to believe in yourself when you're in that situation, especially when you don't have a high school diploma. You feel defeated, you feel like you're embarrassed about everything. And to hear her statement, her testimony, really invigorated our program. They were very grateful to hear her statement. And they also write a booklet at our graduation. And I had brought a bunch of them, and they're back at home. So I apologize for that. But they are amazing, and I think we should probably have a method for you to get access to them if you'd like those, because they're really inspiring, and they point out how important our program is. And along with how important our program is to individuals, another sheet that was added, but it's numbers and hard to read tables and everything that come from the state. We are part of a grant system that asks us to enter everything into a database called MARES, and we are then compared to other adult ed programs in the state. We're in a region, and then there are how many regions? 9 regions? 9 regions. So we were looking at how did we fare as an adult ed program in this system, and looking at what they call measurable skill gains. There are different ways you can get a measurable skill gain. We were in the top 10 for the last 3 years, and there are 115 different programs. So, and we have been increasing our enrollment each year also. So we're making great strides in making sure people get something out of being in our program. And the state sees that too. So that's really kind of a nice recognition we get from the state also. About the relationships you've...
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Adult Ed is very regulated by the state, and they're very encouraging about making relationships and partnerships with other groups. So, we basically locally we have a lot of partners. You know, ISD, Aiden, Milan area schools, of course, is one of our best partners. And then local churches, Michigan Works, Washtenaw Community College, Monroe County Community College, and several local businesses. So that's on a local level. Then on a regional level, which is state level, we are members of McKay, which is those flyers I passed out to you. They statewide, they are in charge of adult education. They advocate for us a lot. We need those people. I served on the board for 11 years with them. And I just recently got off the board, but for 11 years I was on it. We get all our updated information from them. They regulate our grant systems. We do have to write grants in order for our funding. And then we also have our nationally with COABE, the Coalition of Adult Basic Education. They're our national group. They do a lot of advocacy. I've been to a couple of their conferences. They're totally amazing. And that's like nationwide. And they're always fighting for adult ed. And they have a lot of PD and things like that to keep us up to date. So we are part of COABE too. So, and then in our regional, Region 9 meeting, that's again statewide, but they're a great group to be with. They're all the adult eds in our region, which is Monroe, encompasses Monroe.
Washtenaw Community College.
And then Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, all of them counties are in our county. So when we meet countywide with everyone usually at Michigan Works, their new building. And that's a really nice building over there. And they provide a lot of PD and advocacy. And then we all get together and strategize how can we all group-wise help students together and not repeat things, and then offer, like if we don't offer something, maybe one of the other group does. Right. So we get a lot of referrals to each other. So that works out really well. And then with our grant system, we are required to have partnerships anyway, so we're always on the lookout for new partnerships all the time. So that keeps us involved and up to date, and we know what's going on all the time.
Yeah, well, we know most of what
Most of it, except for now, we don't know what's going on. But.
That's right. The same is true at the prison. Even though you think of it as isolated, there is an educational department there, and they have a GED program. And unfortunately, the teachers that teach in the GED program had been really jaded, and we've gotten an amazing group of teachers that are highly motivated in our program, and it's had a secondary effect of making them more motivated and them showing up. I mean, they literally used to have someone else run their classroom while they sat in an office. So it was not a very productive educational environment. And so we worked with them, and in fact, we this year are going to have some homecoming events, which the Director of Education wanted to do. And one of them is going to be called a quiz bowl. So they're going to have GED students and Milan High School students do a quiz bowl. And I thought, well, this will be a nice little simple thing. I mean, nobody's going to be all that interested in it. And I've had all these students come in and say, I want to watch the quiz bowl. I have people who want to come to it. And it's like, okay, I guess this is a little bit more fun. And so we are giving them a really positive environment. They feel very respected there. We work also with the reentry coordinator, with Michigan Works. We are making, I kind of think of it as weaving together a support system that helps the community and helps them enter the community. So, like you were saying, partnerships are huge. When we're in Region 9, if we can't do something, we don't just let that student fall, we send them to another place. Once our students graduate at the FCI, they now have Pell Grant offerings with Jackson College, so we can have students transfer to Jackson College after they get their high school diploma. In fact, I had a former student come in today, no lie, and he gave me this testimonial because he saw the testimonials we had posted on our board. He said, you need more testimonials. So I thought I'd write one for you. But okay, thank you. So this is his testimonial. Although I already had a GED when I came to Milan FCI, I never had a sense of accomplishment. Earning my high school diploma at Milan High School not only provided me with that, it prepared me to excel at Jackson College and earn a college degree in business administration. Knowledge is power. Fraser, class of 2018. So it's very rewarding having them come back and tell us that. So,
Anyway, this semester we have so far over 50 people that have signed up for our online classes at the high school. And then we have 20 in person. And then they have the choice of using blended learning too, which is 2 hours in the classroom and then 2 hours on your own on the computer. That has been really advantageous for the students who aren't quite sure how to navigate on the computer and need help. That way they can stop in once a week and see the teachers and us. We can help them, and then they don't have to be here all the time either because they're all so busy. So we're trying to manage everyone's schedules in every possible way so to make it easy enough for people to be able to come to class.
yeah, it's important to note that our population, the population we work with, has so many barriers hindering them from being able to be successful in education that we're very proud that they take the time and they make the effort, and that's why we coordinate schedules as best we can. Because if they're motivated, we will bend over backwards to make sure that they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. And you also do alternative ed too.
Yeah, I didn't mention that. We do also run alternative ed too for students who have dropped out and need something else, another option. We're there for them too. So we do run alternative ed also.
So it's pretty cool. We are planning on having a graduation in November. One thing about working in a prison is you never know when they're going to shut down for the day or decide for a whole week that suddenly nobody can enter. But we're planning on having our graduation ceremony in November, and you are all invited to come. I'll firm up the dates and let you all know. And that's, again, a really wonderful event that I love sharing. I do want us to talk about something that we're a little worried about. We've always had grant money funding us. In fact, we've been approved for grants, and we're in the second year of 2 different grants, one a 3-year grant and one a 4-year grant. And suddenly, the way the budget is being done, one budget keeps those grants and is fine, and the other budget eliminates those grants. So we'll find out October 8th, hopefully. Hopefully everything doesn't shut down. We'll find out which budget they approve, but we hope even if we don't get those grants that we're able to continue because we feel this program is so important.
So those are both state grants then? They're not?
One's a state
one-
grant, one's a federal. The federal got approved. The federal is the smaller, unfortunately, of the two. So 107 is a state grant, and that's the one that they're shifting all over the place.
But we also want to thank, Milan area schools and the board for all their support all these years.
Yes.
We have been here 48 years, and
Yes.
so we really do appreciate everyone's support, and we hope to be back again to another presentation someday.
There you go. And thanks for letting us describe our program
Yeah,
to you.
thank you. Any questions, anybody?
Well, we appreciate you, Connie and Carrie. I can definitely attest that you guys do a great job at celebrating the students. We appreciate the invitations to the graduations, just like you talked about the testimonials that are provided in the booklet.
And there are some testimonials online. We
Yeah.
couldn't show them tonight because unfortunately there's no sound, but
Yeah.
if you were interested, you could go to Milan area schools and click on adult ed, and there's testimonials from
All right.
former students and parents
Cool.
and stuff on there that you could see.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for celebrating their work. Attending those graduations is very powerful. And you guys even made arrangements. I know during the pandemic, you had the band there for the community ed, and then we had the one out in the secured courtyard next to
Outside,
the family
yeah.
area. So I know you guys do a lot of work to make that happen. I agree. Just hearing those testimonials and all the other ones that I've read in that booklet are very powerful and is a testament to your work and all your staff. We greatly appreciate it. I just want to reiterate again that the students that are attending this receive a true Milan area diploma. These are the same diplomas that our seniors receive in June. These students are going through a program that gives them the credits that the same credits that our seniors are earning. So it's not a GED like you talked about with the others. This is a bona fide Milan High School diploma that they can put on their, any of their things going forward. So So I just wanted to express our thanks. So are there other questions or comments? All right, next we will move on to learning environment and culture. We do have our WISD PAC update from Miss Andrea Bennick.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you to the board for the opportunity to update the community on the WISD PAC. The PAC met last week, Tuesday, for our first time for our 2025-26 school year. And during that meeting, we had the opportunity to hear from two WISD educators on measurable goal training. Laura Trevisan and Andrea Hayes shared a shortened version of the training that they provide to educators on creating strong, measurable goals for IEPs. The feedback from the training was that all of us, even as seasoned parents who have had students in special education, we all learned something new and appreciated how this training is working to reframe how goals are created. It's been my experience in Milan area schools that the IEP goals are well written with the SMART acronym applied. And for those of you that don't know, the SMART goal includes these components. They include S, which is specific to a skill or behavior that the student is trying to achieve. It's M, measurable. It's A, attainable, looking at current and target performance for their skills or behaviors. And it's R, relevant to the student's ability. And T, it's time-bound with a specific date or marker in time. This training is normally a 3-hour event for educators, but Laura and Andrea hit the highlights of this training, and their presentation lasted for a bulk of our meeting. The remainder of the PAC meeting was spent with representatives sharing about their districts, including staffing and administration changes throughout different districts and the beginning of their school year events. I had the opportunity to meet with Lon Smith last week as well. We discussed the opening events at MAS. And during the open houses, Sarah and I were able to connect with families, and we had 24 new families sign up to receive PAC information and resources on an email list. Sarah and I plan to create newsletters with resources, supports, and extracurricular information and send that through email list in addition to sharing these with our TCs to share with their caseloads. And it is our hope to reach as many families as possible. Lon and I also discussed how early childhood special education has evolved and what the model for Milan area schools looks like. ECSE now reflects much of what the rest of the district does with a fully inclusive practice. Our students with already identified special needs are receiving early childhood education services alongside their typically developing peers, and they receive supports with both push-in and pull-out services. Our youngest students at Paddock, the PEC, that are in tuition-based classrooms, they continue to receive services through early on as they're identified. The ECSE teacher now acts as a TC to staff, providing supports, modifications, and accommodations as needed. Interestingly, this is not a common model in Michigan or in many states, so Milan is ahead of the curve in their ECSE practice. Beyond the recent PAC meeting and connecting with administrators and families at open houses, Sarah and I have spent some time updating the guidebook that she created last spring. With a clear outline of special education processes and school and community resources, we hope to share this guidebook with families as they're looped into the special education process. We encourage all families to take advantage of the Michigan Alliance for Families online training and learning opportunities. There continues to be a wealth of information there, and they are all free. Some additional learning opportunities for families of older students, high school and young adult age. On September 30th, from 5:30 to 6:30, the Washtenaw Association for Community Advocacy is holding a seminar on Medicaid information and Social Security benefits. Their website is washtenawaca.org. The WISD Transitions team is holding a student and parent workshop on October 23rd from 9 to 11:30 at the WISD TLC building, and it's also available on Zoom. This event hosts many agencies that provide services for post-secondary students. You can email transitionservices@washtenawisd.org to register, or you can connect with Nancy Gill or Melissa Federline here at Milan High School. They both have information on those events. The WISD is hosting coffee and conversations support events throughout the 2025-26 school year. These events help build support networks, learn from shared experiences in special education, and share resources from the community. Their next event is November 18th from 8:15 to 10:30 at the WISD TLC building. I have attended both the transition workshops and the coffee and conversation events. They are a great opportunity to connect with other families, to learn what local resources are available, and connect with educators. I highly recommend families try to attend at least one of these events through the WISD. And as always, Sarah and I are available to help support not only with education questions, but also with resources in the community and extracurricular opportunities. Overall, it seems to be a positive start to back to the school year, with connections being made between PAC representatives and our families. We look forward to continuing the momentum and serving our families here. Our next PAC meeting will be November 18th from 6:30 to 8:30. And we are hoping to hear from the SWWC Consortium Director to learn how programming there supports students with IEPs and 504s. While that will be post-CTE millage voting, it is a program that offers hands-on career learning opportunities, and it will be worthwhile to learn how they support students with various abilities. Our meetings are open to the public and are held at the WISD TLC building on Wagner Road. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Bennick and Sarah, for your work. I appreciate your follow-up email from the last meeting with MTSS and among other questions. So appreciate Mr. McMahon's answer back to that. And I appreciate getting your email with the update today. It's obviously you guys are doing a lot of work, evidenced by the 24 families that you've talked to and provided your work to. So continue. I appreciate what you're doing and your advocacy. So
Thank you. There are different flyers for the events that I talked about here this evening, and I'm going to put them on the ledge out there by the front desk. So a lot of them have QR codes and websites to be able to get information. So if anybody is interested, you're welcome to take a picture, send it out to whatever contacts you may have. Thank you.
any questions?
Yes,
If you have those digitally, could you send them to me?
sure, I can do that, not a problem.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next up on our strategic area of business is operations, state aid budget. Since we didn't have our sound recording last time, I do want to talk about the resolution that we passed last time. I'm going to read it again. I did send this resolution to, on behalf of the board, to Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, Senate Majority Leader Winnie Brinks, Senate Minority Leader Sean Nesbitt, our Senator Jeff Irwin, who represents Washtenaw County, and Senator Joseph Bellino, who is our Monroe County Senator. I sent it to the House Majority Leader Matt Hall, the House Minority Leader Rangier Puri, and then our own State Representative Reggie Miller. And then I also copied our U.S. Senator Peters, U.S. Senator Slotkin, our U.S. Representative Dingle for Washtenaw County, and our U.S. Representative from Monroe County, Wahlberg. So I just want to read this resolution again, because pretty much we are in the same spot as we were at the last meeting, is my understanding. There have been a lot of talks, I've heard. We attended a legislative session, Mr. Burdett, myself, Ms. Pryor, and Mr. McMahon. There was a legislative session with the WISD where we received updates from our state legislators. And again, they talked about the gridlock. I mean, there was no major update from that, except that they're going, back to work to talk. So I just want to, again, this is a resolution that we passed at our last meeting. I think you can tell by the letters, the letter that Mr. McMahon sent out to the community, and has also been echoed by our principals, that this is a problem. I think we've been talking about it long enough, and we're at the 1 week mark now. So I'm just going to read this resolution again. Whereas Michigan's Constitution requires the Michigan legislature and governor to pass an annual school aid budget for the exclusive purpose of funding public education. Whereas Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed Public Act 160 into law in 2019, which requires the legislature to pass and present general appropriation bills for the upcoming fiscal year to the governor on or before July 1. Whereas local school districts in Michigan are required by law to pass their own budgets for the upcoming school year by June 30th. Whereas the Michigan legislature has failed to meet its July 1 legal deadline to pass a school aid budget appropriation bill or make any meaningful progress toward doing so. Whereas the Milan Area Schools Board of Education was forced to adopt a budget for the 2025-2026 school year without key funding information due to the ongoing lack of a state budget. Whereas the FY 2025-2026 school aid fund budget continues to be delayed by political battles unrelated to school funding or the needs of our students. Whereas school aid fund dollars should not be used to fill budget gaps tied to or used to fund unrelated budget items such as road construction and maintenance, fund higher education or private education, increase onerous reporting requirements for already struggling school districts. Whereas a responsible school aid fund budget should include a reasonable increase in the per pupil foundation allowance, dedicated funding for Michigan's at-risk youth, English language learners, students in special education, ISDs, and RESAs, Great Start Readiness programs, school libraries, rural communities, CTE programs, and other essential academic programs. Targeted non-instructional educational supports, including school infrastructure funding for districts with older buildings and safety concerns, safe and reliable student transportation, and wraparound services such as mental health support for high-need students. Whereas the ongoing delay in funding certainly has already impacted our ability to plan effectively to support our students in the current school year. Whereas every additional day of delay worsens the negative impacts on our school, staff, and students this fall and beyond. Whereas comments by lawmakers suggesting that the school aid budget can or should wait for other budgets agreements ignore the critical needs of our students. Therefore, be it resolved that the Milan Area Schools Board of Education strongly urges state lawmakers to immediately pass a spending bill that fully allocates the entirety of funding meant for Michigan schools in a manner that equitably supports the needs of each and every student in the state. And be it further resolved that Milan Area Schools Board of Education affirms that the school aid funding should not be tied to any other budget deals, including ongoing negotiations over road funding. So again, I sent that to that list of, this board sent that list to that list of legislators. We did receive a response back from our state representative, Reggie Miller, which I will pass along here as well. She replied, "Dear Milan Area Schools Board of Education, thank you for your advocacy and for holding elected officials accountable on behalf of your students, families, and staff. You are absolutely right. We have a statutory duty to pass a school spending bill on time, and it's unacceptable for lawmakers to allow the well-being of Michigan's children to hang in the balance because of political games. Passing the school aid budget is one of the most important responsibilities of the legislature, and I share your frustration with the current inaction. As your state representative, I take seriously my duty to be transparent and accountable to the people I serve. That said, I want to be candid with you about where things stand. Right now, my colleagues and I in the Michigan House are laser focused on defending our public schools from the devastating cuts proposed in the current school aid budget. If enacted, this budget would slash categorical and dedicated funding for the very programs children depend on, including school meals, busing for rural districts, special education, school safety, and mental health services. We are not simply sounding the alarm, we are acting. My colleagues and I in the Michigan House recently introduced the Investing in Education Bill package, which would lock into law guaranteed minimum funding levels for the following: universal school meals, special education, mental health and school safety, GSRP preschool, rural and isolated districts, career and technical education, English language learners, transportation. As your resolution noted, we are more than 2 months past the statutory budget deadline, leaving schools in an impossible position as they try to plan for the year. Unfortunately, House leadership has made good faith negotiations nearly impossible, but the Senate is keeping these conversations moving. Despite the gridlock, I remain committed to supporting Michigan students, educators, schools, and families. Every child deserves access to a quality education, and that should not be endangered by partisan dysfunction. I will continue to encourage leadership to prioritize responsible budgeting over political considerations while fully supporting initiatives such as our bill package that offer the stability and certainty necessary for our schools. Our state constitution is very clear here. All political power is inherent in the people. Your voices raised clearly and collectively matter. I urge you to continue pressing House and Senate leadership and the governor's office to prioritize children over partisanship. Please know that my office stands with you and is here to support your efforts. In service, Reggie Miller, State Representative, House District 31. So I did want to offer that reply. She's the only one that has replied to the email thus far. And I know Mr. McMahon has attended the superintendent's conference. I believe he and Ms. Hendricks have done some work based on some of that feedback. So we're going to open it up for discussion in regards to that, but we'll receive an update from Mr. McMahon.
Thank you for that, Mr. Sislo. A related topic I want to mention first, because it's really important for our families to know, is the Free Meals for All program in Michigan. It's coming to an end September 30th as the budget stands right now. So I sent out a message, and maybe I'll send out another one to remind, but that program is ending for every school in the state, and we can't afford to continue it. So we really need our families to submit the free and reduced lunch applications, because that program will still continue for the folks that qualify for it, just not for all students. And so we're switching over. So we'll be putting out information on our website about how we're switching back to the way lunches worked before the Free Meals for All program, where students will be, again, paying for their lunch, the majority of our students. So it's important for families to get those applications in. And it's not even just if you think you qualify, if you're not sure, it helps us for federal programming to qualify for other grants and programs if we get more of those applications in. And it's completely confidential. You can do it completely online. So in terms of the budget update, yes, I did spend some time with superintendents in the state and legislators and our association's general counsel, and it doesn't look good. It's not promising. A majority, if not everybody, is expecting us to see a shutdown. We don't know for how long. It won't be the first time our state's shut down, because that conversation came up, and the association that I belong to helped our superintendents navigate their way through that, but it was only for a couple hours. We anticipate this one could be longer. What speculation is around the state is that they'll have it done before October 10th, so that we'll be able to get our state aid on October 20th. Some of us are a little nervous that there's political games happening, and if you're targeting that date, the games that they've never played before to this extent might extend beyond. And if it extends beyond October 10th, we will not receive an October 20th. We and every district in the state will not receive an October 20th state aid payment. We already do not receive one in September. Per the state's funding model, schools only get 11 monthly payments. They don't receive a payment in September. They never have, which is why this year, us and many other districts had to already apply for loans to cover cash flow, because of the way the state, and fortunately, the state is kind enough to loan us that money at a low interest rate instead of giving us a 12-month payment. But we're in a situation now where districts have to consider loaning or finding ways to access cash to make payroll so we can pay our people and keep our lights on and keep our kids safe. The games that are being played are putting our kids out there front and center as pawns, and it's not fair. It's not fair for any student, much less districts that don't have a lot of resources. So we're really concerned about this. I also want to say thank you to our parents or community members that reached out. I received some emails and some comments on our social media that they did contact legislators. I know that's not a popular thing or an easy thing. Well, it's actually kind of easy to do, but it's not something that everybody's willing to do. But even just a few help. And so I appreciate that. And there's still time to reach out to your legislators to stress the importance of us getting a budget. On that note, I'm going to let Ms. Hendricks share some of the details, but we have reached out. The closing statements at my conference were, if you think you might be in a position as a district where you're going to need to borrow money, you need to go back on Monday and start that process. Because what we're not sure of is if the state office is closed, if there's a shutdown, the Department of Treasury will likely close because they're not an essential department. And if they're closed, you might not be able to access money. So you have to start that now. So we started the process on Monday. We contacted our law firm because that's where we start. Krista contacted the bank. She can give you some of the details and some more information on that, but we've started that process to look at borrowing money.
I just want to, this is in addition to the money that we've already borrowed from
Correct.
the state, because
Correct.
we can't borrow any more money from the state for
Right.
this purpose.
Yes,
So-
now we have to go to private borrowing.
Yeah, so we have to go to a bank
Correct.
to get a higher interest loan
Correct.
for this money
Yes.
to run. Okay, I just want to make sure that we understand. Ms. Hendricks?
In preparation for what might be coming our way, I have done a pretty much day-by-day cash flow statement so that I know when we might face a problem. without getting any funds in October from the state, and if we don't borrow, we won't be able, I don't believe, we will be able to make payroll November 15th. We do have tax money and other revenues coming in, but because they're not set amounts, I have not calculated that in. Depending on how much tax revenue we might get in, we might be able to make the 15th of November, but not past that. As Mr. McMahon said, we did talk to Troon Law Firm regarding borrowing. I reached out to our contact at Chase Bank to see if that was something that they would offer. And he said, yes, they do. We have to figure out what we're doing first, go through the legal process, because Troon will give us the documentation that we need, and then we can go to the bank and ask for money. So we can either borrow, or he did mention a line of credit. That's another conversation that we'll have to talk to the lawyers about and see what they say. We've also had a bank reach out to us, knowing that what's going on is going to impact everybody. It's not a bank that we've dealt with before, but they said, we understand the situation and we're just reaching out if you need a place to turn. So we're looking, as Mr. McMahon said, if we don't have a budget in place by October 10th, we won't get paid on October 20th. But if they approve a budget after October 10th, it will take 10 to 15 days for everything to process for us to get a payment. So we don't know what October is going to look like. I'm choosing to think that the glass is half full, and by October 5th or 6th, they'll have figured something out and we won't be impacted, but we are moving forward, looking at where we stand payroll-wise and revenue expense-wise. But we do need to do something. We need to get some money in October.
So I just want to understand, basically, we'd be able to make November 15th payroll, and that would be it, if we weren't able to borrow any other money and receive no other funds.
So if we don't borrow and we receive nothing else between now and then, I don't think we can make payroll in November. If we get more tax money in, if we get other revenues in from whatever sources, I estimate our payrolls to be about $1 million. Based on the estimates that I have in our cash flow, taking us through November 11th, I've got $1,076,000. So we could just barely make payroll. But we also know we have some large expenses out there that I don't have dollar amounts on. So for me, it's a hard place to make this call. I would like to say that we should be able to make the 15th payroll in November, but it's going to be tight.
All right, so I just Troon is in the process of creating legal documents for us to borrow money if we need to. And we do have commitments from at least one bank, maybe others, if we need to. All right.
We are planning on having a resolution at the next board meeting to allow us to borrow funds that would have to be approved by the board. Because we've already borrowed money and we did it at the timing we did it, we're already a qualified school. That's one step in the process that we've already taken care of. So we remain a qualified school or a qualified district. So all we would need is a resolution for the board to essentially vote to approve us to go out and either seek a loan or obtain a loan.
Okay. So that board meeting is Wednesday, October 8th.
Correct.
So hopefully, that provides some time for, what people have heard is that hopefully things are done by the 10th. So hopefully we do have some more updates and we're closer to something by the 8th that we can.
And the timing will be a little precarious because we may have to get on the agenda before we know.
Okay.
Just approving, if that resolution gets approved by the board, it doesn't mean we have to go get money. It
Right.
just means we can.
Yeah.
So we'll have to determine if it stays on the agenda, if it's something we use or delete, but it's cutting it close.
Sure.
So.
Okay. All right, other questions, concerns from fellow board members?
Mr. Sislo?
Yeah, Mrs. Gutierrez.
Krista, did the banks give you an idea of how long it would take to close once we get all of our paperwork in?
I've been told it would be a quick process. I don't know the definition of quick.
Yeah, especially if we're not the only one in this situation.
Right, but they're fully aware. When I talked to my contact at Chase, he was fully aware. Bank of Ann Arbor reached out to us, more than fully aware. He said, we know the situation you might be in. So I think they're all preparing to do something. And when we did talk to the attorney on Monday, he said it's a quick turnaround.
And then thank you. And then my second question is, how might the interest rate compare to what we get with the state?
I don't know.
We're kind of at their mercy.
We are at this point, we are at their mercy. I did reach out to Chase today to ask if he could give me a range, and I don't have a response back at this point.
But more than likely, no matter what, it's gonna be higher than the rate that we're.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, right.
I was wondering what magnitude.
Right, no, I completely understand, but it's important to realize that it's not gonna be equal or less, yeah.
Mr.
Yeah,
Sislo?
Ms. Heika.
So much to digest here. Did the bank give you any idea on what we would have to use as collateral?
We have not had that discussion, and that's gonna have to be part of the discussion we have with Troon. Because he did ask if we had talked about that with the attorney. But a lot of borrowing has been done in the past against anticipated taxes. So we know that we're gonna get tax money in, your property taxes roll into us as people pay, they're turned over to the district. So it's a tax anticipation note. So they're going to take our tax money as soon as we start getting it in, probably. I will be fully honest, I've never gone through this process before. I've never had to borrow outside of the state. But a lot of districts do. There are some districts that don't go through the state aid note borrowing and choose to go out on their own anyway. So it's not an uncommon practice, it's just not a common practice for Milan. And I don't know enough to.
That's fair. That's all fair. And then when you say that we may be able to make the November 15th payroll, I have a question about some of our hourly employees, because not all of our employees are salaried, they're hourly. And so when they get paid on November 15th, I assume that that is for work that was performed like 4 weeks before that.
October 16th through October 31st will be
Okay.
paid.
So if they continue working past October 31st and we can't make that November 15th payroll, it seems to me we will be in violation of state wage laws.
Yes.
Awesome.
possibility.
It just gets better. I don't even know what to say at this point. I think that, Mr. Sislo said this is important. I meant to write down the word and I forgot. It's a crisis. I mean, we're not gonna be able to pay people. We're gonna be in violation of the law. And because of the way the state sets up their payments anyways, we already have to borrow from the state money they've already promised us and pay interest on that. And now we're gonna have to go borrow more money and we're gonna have to pay another interest rate to someone else. And if any of you have gotten a loan lately, you know those interest rates are not great right now. Even with this rate cut it's coming, they're not good. And so every dollar we have to pay for interest to keep open because the state's not doing their job is a dollar I can't spend on your kids. That's the reality, because they're not doing their job. So I hope that all of you are not only calling, Reggie Miller she's on it. I talked to her earlier today. She is on it. This is a function of the leadership of the House and the Senate. And quite frankly, the governor. I've been very clear. I think most of you know where my politics lie. She's to blame too. There are no sacred cows here. And she needs to get the job done. And if all of you call and tell them that, and more importantly, I hope all of you remember this next November. Because there are some of our reps who are doing a better job than others.
Others?
They've already echoed my words, but I'd like everybody to remember think about how ridiculous this position is for our schools, that we have to pay money and they're not giving us money to run, so now we have to pay interest on things we shouldn't have to pay. Regardless of this issue happening now, this is something the state needs to fix. We shouldn't have to borrow from the state every September to pay. Maybe some other schools don't, but we're not that lucky where we can't do it. And that takes extra cash flow from us, and every dime matters here. And so this something in the long run needs to be fixed, regardless of now, which they need to pass this budget, but in the future, that's something I hope that they really work on to pass, because it can't stay this way. And I see this happening again. This isn't going to be the only time we go towards shutdown or shut down. They're going to keep fighting and keep fighting. So we may be sitting here having the same exact conversation next year because they want to play with our kids and with our school districts. And that's not a fair fight.
Others? Mr. McMahon?
I'd like to add too that, Cassie, your comment made me think, it reminded me that this is not necessarily a budget crisis at the state level in terms of they don't have the money to fund a budget. They have the money. There's been times in the past where the government had to cut funds, and that's tough decisions on what to cut. They're not cutting funds here. They're just deciding where to put it. So that's an important thing to think.
Can I say, I just want to qualify that, because I'm sure there are people out in the public that know, there is a hole in the budget. And the hole was created by the big, beautiful bill. And it's about I've heard anywhere between $400 million and $700 million hole. And that hole was created by two things. One, the way the federal government changed the way that corporations could claim losses on their tax returns. They used to have to set it over many years, and now the federal government's going to let them take all that in one lump sum. The state tax code follows the federal tax code. So now you have corporations who used to have to spread out their losses, can take their losses all in 1 year. It's going to create a huge hole in our budget. The other hole was created because the big beautiful bill cut a tax that was used to fund Medicaid payments from the states. So there was a tax, and that money went to the state, and that's how the state funded Medicaid payments. That is gone now. That's like a $400 million cut right there that they're trying to figure out. So I don't want you guys to think that there's not a hole. The point is, our funding comes from the school aid fund. There's not a hole there, right? So we are being held hostage by trying to figure out how to fix the hole created by the feds, and because they're fighting over how to fix the roads. So your kids are being held hostage by the roads and politics. So I just wanted to make, because there is a cut in the budget, just not our budget, so I just wanted to make sure we were being transparent.
Others? Ms. Gutierrez.
I appreciate this, first of all, Krista, the work that went into kind of getting us in a position to understand where we are. I was just driving here from work this afternoon, and there was a special segment it's just politics on Michigan radio today, and I was just checking out their headlines, and some of the headlines they had were 7 days to state government shutdown, no deal, no plans, which I think tells us a lot. And then this idea that voters may hold everyone accountable, and although it was on the program, it's just politics. This is not political. Our children going to school and being educated and being having a safe place to be trained to be a good citizen of the world is not political. And the estimate that was provided by the pollster out there is that somewhere around 65-70% of Michiganders feel that everyone is to blame in this, that there is really no safe harbor here in terms of culpability. And so I think that there has been a lot of jockeying about what the issue is here, But to Mrs. Heike's point, the state aid fund has the money. Let's get it pushed through. Let's put those other issues to side. And everyone, whether you are on one side of the political spectrum or the other, this is about our children here. And just like it's painful for families to have to borrow money and pay interest, it is painful for our district to do that too. And it's really frustrating to think about us as taxpayers having our money go to be paid to banks to be able to keep our doors open. And we want to get that those funds in the hands of schools and to school districts to be able to continue the work. And it would be frivolous and silly for us to have to pay more money to be able to do that.
Any others? All right, so, I mean, obviously, we will stay tuned to what's happening. We do have our regular board meeting October 8th. We can always call a special board meeting if we need to, if there's a situation arises that we need to. But based on the calculations that Ms. Hendricks provided, I guess I just want to be very clear that, you know, if things go very south, you know, some of the things that the board will be considering is closing school in November, potentially. I mean, based on what, you know, if these things happen. So, I don't want to sound, you know, but those are the things that we have to prepare for as the fiscal responsibility for this district. So I just want people to understand that and be aware.
Can I say one more
Yeah,
thing?
sure.
Because Carrie, I heard you whisper if we can't make payroll. It's bigger than the payroll, right? I can't buy gas for the buses. I can't keep the lights on. I can't, you know, run security systems. I can't pay any bill. I can't buy food to make food in the cafeteria. Like it's beyond payroll. I mean, if it was just payroll, I'm sure we could figure something out. But I literally won't be able to keep the lights on. I won't be able to get kids back and forth. There will be no money.
All right, any others? All right, so hopefully we get some news within the next couple of days and definitely within the week that we can move forward with. That brings us back to communications and community engagement and public comments. Are there any students who'd like to address the board? Are there any public members who'd like to address the board? Yeah, please. Yeah, you have to push it again, push the green.
I was wondering whether everyone here understands that potential shutdown, but does the student family population understand that? And is there some way we can let them understand that suddenly their kids can't go to school, that there's nothing there for them, so that they put more pressure on a decision to be made? I don't know if there's a way to inform everybody.
Yeah, that's a
about
valid
that.
question. I mean, I know Mr. McMahon has sent out a letter, and the principals have echoed that letter. And I think I would say based on what this conversation and what we're going to see in the next few days, those may have to become more powerful or more evident. So, because we don't want to create a sky is falling either. I mean, we just want to know we are preparing because this is what we're hearing, and this is, I mean, money is finite. I mean, it does not grow on trees. So, but yeah, I appreciate the comment. Are there others? Did you have any? No, I didn't want to. Okay. Are there others? All right, that brings us to Assistant Superintendent comments. Ms. Bookout.
Thank you, Mr. Sislo. In the midst of all this uncertainty, the good work of teaching and learning does continue. So I wanted to share some good news and some updates on the work that we're doing. not only in the district, but also across the state. So I first want to say congratulations to Milan Middle School. They were recently selected to be honored because they have the highest rate of participation in the middle school level across the county. So across the county, our middle school students have the highest rate of participation in My Future Fund, which is a program that gives families additional funding for college and post-career or post-secondary success. So we're really excited to see our middle school families and students taking advantage of that program. So they're going to be honored at a special breakfast in October. So we're very happy to hear about that. At the state level, there are no new proposed health education standards that are being brought by the state. Those are open right now for public comment, so any member of the public that's interested in health education, what our students receive in health class, can go online. The Michigan Department of Education health website does have those standards out open for anyone to read and to provide comment on, and that comment will be taken into account before those standards are made official and shared with our schools in order to improve our health curriculums across the district. So if people are interested in that, I encourage them to check that out. Finally, I want to share an update on DESA, which is our district social emotional learning screener program that we do. So for our young 5th through 5th grade students, all of our teachers do their own assessments on students based on their observed skills and behaviors in the classroom. And then in grades 6 through 12, students do a self-report where they evaluate their own emotional skills and strengths. And then we take those results and we use them to develop programming and develop small groups for students that need more assistance. So we are going to be starting that rating window on October 1st. We are doing 3 rating windows this year, so we could make sure we're monitoring students' growth in those areas, just as we do with academics, and provide additional supports to students. I'm going to be sending home a parent letter to share more information with families about that DESA assessment, and that should be coming home late last week. So I encourage everyone that's watching to keep an eye out for that letter so they can read that and get more information about that program. That's all from me.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we definitely need to have the positive news, and we can appreciate that work that continues and needs to continue. Superintendent comments, Mr. McMahon.
Mr. Sislo, I want to remind the community of the upcoming CTE millage vote on November 4th. It's important that our voters get out, and the best piece of information I can share with you is the WISD's website has significant resources for our voters to go out there and learn about this election. We want educated voters to go out there and look. Certainly, when you see a school millage or a bond or something, an election related to schools, there's going to be discussion around what that offers or creates or provides for students. But I want to just add a different angle for our voters to think about, and it's the potential like economic or industrial impact to Southeast Michigan. If this money is kind of put into the economy via our school programming, our state has suffered major industrial changes in the last 25 years, and if there was funding available to create opportunities for our students to be a little bit more future career ready and future career advanced, I don't think it's a stretch to consider that other industries might want to reclaim this hardworking blue collar state as a place to start manufacturing or start maybe some futuristic programming. So that's just another angle I want our voters to think about. This election is not just creating opportunities for our students right here now, but what will the long-term impact be for our region? I want to remind families that the count day is October 1st. Let me just steal your thunder, Tom. But the reason I'm mentioning it is because it's also the end of our school of choice window. We extend up to count day. So if there are any families out there that are still looking for school of choice options and we're on their list, you have another week to come join all the great things happening here in Milan area schools. I want to share also that Paddock and Simons are having their fall festival on October 2nd. It's at 5 p.m. at Paddock. There's going to be outdoor activities. I understand there's farm animals going to be there, food trucks, so just come be a part of it. Maybe it'll be an extension from the open house that we started with the community gathering. Go ahead. Also the book fair. Is that the Scholastic Book Fair is happening there too?
Yeah, the book fair is happening.
Okay, in conjunction with the book fair. Thank you, Mrs. Durkee. An additional piece of information I want to share is that the ISD is hosting a series of workshops this year specifically targeted for parent and caregiver mental health to provide resources. It looks like the programming is pretty solid, which is nice to see coming out of the ISD. I just this afternoon shared a post on Instagram and Facebook that has the link, and that will give you all the information of the topics upcoming in future events. But that's something that I think is worth our parents and caregivers taking a look at. And I want to say one more time that I had the chance to attend the MASA workshop or conference, the superintendent's conference last week. Is a gathering of 500 superintendents or related folks in this state. It's a very powerful group. Lots of good opportunities to network and meet other folks and sit at tables and learn how other schools are dealing with problems, issues, what good things that are happening. It's a really good opportunity to share ideas and learn from one another. Of course, the state budget was kind of the highlight topic throughout all the sessions. But one of the highlights for me was I got to be introduced to a new group called the the School Equity Conference, or Equity Foundation, Equity Caucus. It's a foundation, it's a caucus, Equity Caucus. I didn't know anything about this group. They're a small but mighty group. They started like late 80s, so they've been around pre-Prop A, but their whole mission is to focus on equity and funding. It's strictly on funding. And their mission aligns very closely with rural schools, smaller schools like us, and so I think there's a lot of benefit we can have by partnering with them. It also aligns closely with my dissertation research, and so I had a great conversation with the executive director. I'm looking forward to meeting with them a little bit more and learning about how we can benefit and be a benefit to them. So I was really excited about that new opportunity. And lastly, I'd like to thank Carrie Mink and Connie Cox for sharing their program. At the core of it, and they talked about it, but at the core of their programs, a majority of our students graduate in 4 years because that's the expectation. That's the standard traditional way to do it. They work exclusively with students that are taking different paths, and for all sorts of reasons. And that is a challenge, but I just want to thank them for the presentation, but also for the work they do, because they are flexible and they bend over for their students, even in getting the funding for the programs. Like, it's not just in the program that they offer, but it's out advocating for the funding. So thank you guys for coming tonight and for all the work you do. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. McMahon. Board member comments. I just have a few things. I did approve a tuition reimbursement for Mr. McMahon. I just want folks to know. So he is, again, it's the continuing education for his PhD. So we are appreciative of that and support him in that endeavor. I also want to thank, I guess stated earlier, Ms. Pryor and Mr. Burdette attending the WISD legislative breakfast and getting those updates and showing the support of Milan at that event. And then I do want to thank Ms. Pryor and Ms. Murray and Ms. Heika for hosting our Big Red Board Chat last night. So that's what I have for now. Others? Yeah, Ms. Pryor.
I was going to bring up the Big Red Board Chat. We had a couple attendees, but I think we had a really good conversation. We got to talk in depth, and so I'm beginning to appreciate, even if we only have a few, we really get to know the people in our community who do attend, and I appreciate those that do. We discussed the CT millage, the budget, and then some other questions and ideas come up. Somebody already mentioned sending letters about lunches, so that was something that came up. Looking into a more intimate location for the board chat, since there's only a few. We did talk about that before, but then we got there last night, we realized we still set it for the Simons location. And then there were some concerns brought up about the speeding at the high school in the morning. Driving around, people driving the speed limit, kids speeding around, and some concerns about that. So those were a few of the things that were brought up. Remind everybody that next week is homecoming, Spirit Week. All the schools, get your kids involved, look at the letters that are sent home, dress them up, be part of that community for the week, for all school year, but really make it shine next week, ending with the football game, the parade football game, and dance for the high school on Saturday. I was happy to see a couple weeks ago at one of the games, Care Solace had a table there, and I thought that was nice for them to have a presence at the football game, letting the families know what is available, the service that's available for them to find mental health services if needed. I've been seeing a lot of attendance at the events that I've been going to, more than just the parents of the sports players, so I'm really proud of the community for showing up to support our kids. I want to put a plug in for This is the final week for the GMACF to do our fundraising for our attempt to create a scholarship that benefits our Milan students for CTE programs. So in conjunction with what we already offer, the millage that's occurring, we're trying to enhance that even more by creating a scholarship for our students here. Anybody that wants to come out to our pep rally on Sunday, it is free. It is being held at Munson Park in Monroe County. There's hot dogs, games, other snacks, and a few performances, and the teams will be there. We're holding like a pre-pep rally caravan from here to there, decorating our cars, decorating ourselves, if anybody wants to come celebrate Milan and what we're trying to do. I also want to say I thank the young lady who came in earlier to speak. I was hoping that she would stay to say that I do hear her concerns, and I hope that the situation and things that were said are looked into regarding, I want all the students here to feel safe and to have the ability to be themselves. And so I'm hoping that that's something that we can really take seriously as we go through. I know we're dealing with a lot of stuff, but even one student being made to feel uncomfortable is upsetting to me, and I would like for that to be looked at. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pryor. Others? Ms. Aiko?
I also want to thank the individuals who came to the Big Red Board Chat. What I thought was super interesting is we did talk about all those things that Miss Pryor mentioned, but then we just sat and talked about our kids. So, because we talked about homecoming and dresses and, you know, how they get to school and when we make them ride the bus and things like that. So it was just a nice kind of community discussion. Yesterday I went to my or maybe it was Monday. I went to my first ever boys soccer game. Those were kind of brutal.
Sorry.
That was brutal. And if you think Mr. Farrow gets fired up at this table, you should go see him at a soccer game. It was a lot of fun. So I am very proud of our boys. It was a tough match, but they persevered and they gave it their all, and I am shocked at how much those kids can run. That's a lot. So that was exciting. They have another one tomorrow. If you guys can make it over there, it's $7 to get in. It's just, they're phenomenal athletes, and it's clear they put a lot of work into their craft. I want to thank both young ladies who came to speak to the board tonight. It's not easy to come talk to us, especially when we sit like this in a line and there's other community members, but I appreciate both of them for coming. That does remind me that when I saw Miss Tepke here, I've been meaning to reach out to her because I think our flag needs to be replaced again, and I mentioned that to her, and they would love to come and do the ceremony to replace the flag that they did maybe 2 years ago. So I'm happy to reach out to her. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I'm happy to reach out to her and Mr. Tepke and arrange that, if anyone else.
As long as you can make it not rain that day.
That, I am pretty powerful, but I cannot do that.
But yeah, I support that.
Okay,
So,
okay.
uh,
I'd mentioned it, I noticed it leaving a meeting a couple weeks ago and been meaning to reach out to her, and then she happened to be here tonight.
And we'll do it rain or shine. We will.
We did it in the rain last time.
We did it in the rain last time.
And anyone that's listening, when we announce the date, you should come. It's an incredible ceremony. The kids from our district do it. They know the appropriate way to take down the flag, how to fold it, how to dispose of it appropriately, and how to maintain it until it gets disposed of, and they know how to put the new flag up. So just watching them show so much reverence to the flag and know all of that it's pretty amazing. It was an amazing ceremony that I watched in the rain last time. Thank you to you two for your just like all the heart and soul that you put into our students. I, over the many years, have had many parents come up to me and say, oh, this kid's not doing this and this kid's not doing this. And I always say, kids find their way. And you provide the path for the kids who need to find their way later. And that's super important. And to your points too, they really contribute to our community, before, but then after too. They go out, they work, they're contributing, they're helping their own kids raise their expectations, and, they just needed a different path, and thank you for providing that. I really appreciate it on both sides. The last thing I want to say is I assume we're going to, since it's been brought up a couple times, when we send reminders to parents about the state-funded free lunch program coming to an end, so they need to get their application in. Can we also put in to remind parents that if you don't qualify, you need to put money in your account? Because I know I've put money in the last year only because my kids were complaining that they wanted to buy something from the commissary. I don't know what, the snack cart or whatever. But before then, I had not put any money in that account since COVID. So I'm sure parents haven't even thought about how to do that. And so we may want to just remind people that get your application in. And if you don't get your application in, you need to put some money in your account so the kids can eat. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Ika. Mr. Farrow.
Connie and Carrie, I want to thank you again for being here and for what you do. It's clear that you enjoy what you do. You have such tremendous enthusiasm, and I just want you to know that you're very much appreciated. So, I also want to thank Yana for coming. That was a student that spoke earlier about the environment here at the high school. I want to thank Ayana for being here, and obviously we have a responsibility to ensure that our students are in a safe and comfortable environment. So I'm very confident that the administrative team will look into the comments that were shared tonight by one of our students. I also wanted to comment on Mr. Midland, our middle school principal. I really got a charge out of seeing him in at the football game in the stands with an instrument with the high school band. I thought it was just awesome to see that, and just to see the kids around him having as much fun as he was. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Midland. And then finally, just a couple comments. I'm hoping that at some point soon we'll get an update on the financial audit, that we'll get a chance to see the fiscal year 25 numbers. And then I don't know when we will be seeing the district insurance premium rates and increases, and when we will have that information. And then I don't know when open enrollment is and when all the rate information will be shared with our staff. And obviously with the state budget the way it is, it's just going to be an interesting time period. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. Others? Mr. Burdett?
I also wanted to thank everyone who came to speak today, especially the students. I was encouraged by Zoe's statements about the positivity at the high school. I was also encouraged by Iana's statement about the beginnings of a GSA at Milan. I also, along with my other colleagues, are concerned with Iana's statements about how they were made to be felt uncomfortable at school, and I would very much also like to see the administration looking into that. Last week, went to a lot of things. I attended the 7th and 8th grade football game, the JV football game, and the varsity football game. Unfortunately, not the outcomes that we were hoping for, but all very, very exciting, and we do have a lot of talented kids out there. I was also able to attend the JV volleyball game last week, which was very exciting, and I believe they won, so that was awesome. So, Mr. Farrell kind of stole my thunder about Mr. Midland attending Friday's football game. The band is just so much fun to watch, and not only were the high school out there, but Mr. Midland also brought some middle school students out there as well to kind of march along with the high school, and then he was up in the stands playing trumpet, which was just so cool and kind of jealous, So, moving forward, just kind of looking forward to attending more events at the middle school and high school levels, maybe trying to hit some elementary school stuff as well, and very much looking forward to the homecoming activities next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burdett. Others? Ms. Gutierrez?
Thank you. I didn't know about Mr. Midland being at the band, but it makes me think maybe we need to have a school board band version. I played the crash cymbals in high school, so maybe I'll take out some of my frustrations there. That's
All
wonderful.
right, we got to do it now then. What-
I know that Mr. Sislo has a
Did you play, Gabe?
music. Oh.
No, I'll just hire my son to play drums.
So we got the cymbals.
You and I can sing.
There you go.
Sing. Okay, you can sing. All right. I played trombone.
I still have my piccolo.
Piccolo.
There you go.
Mr. Farrell. You,
I could do the recorder.
the recorder. All right. Miss Pryor.
I have to bring in one of my kids.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll try. We'll see.
I think we need to plan that for real. In all seriousness, I can't give my thanks enough to the students that were brave enough to be here tonight, share what it is like within the walls of the high school, and to give us some perspective on what their day-to-days are like. Of course, it's wonderful to hear from Zoe about a fabulous, fantastic teacher who I took a couple of notes. Let me find them quick. The things that struck me about what she said is that her teacher is a trusted adult, builds relationships, checks in, and especially shows students how to take notes. I was just talking to my college juniors today who don't know how to take notes. And so I'm so glad to hear that that's happening at Milan High School. And then I'm tremendously grateful for Yana's presence here, for sharing their experience. And I agree. I trust that our administrators will make sure that some of the things that were raised will be brought up and addressed. Of course, all of our students have the right and the expectation to be made to feel safe here, but also made to feel welcome, made to feel respected, and made to feel heard. And so I want Yana to know tonight that we heard their statements, and that I think it is something that warrants a serious conversation. I also, too, am glad to hear that GSA is active at the high school, and I think you hear from the board here that we are enthusiastic about seeing and participating in student activities, and I would like to include that one as well. And I don't know what their activities are that are coming up, but I would love to hear about them and see how our board can support and be participatory in supporting all of our students. I'd also like to send my most gracious thanks to Connie Cox and Carrie Mink. Carrie, we've never met before, but you have a great name, so I'm glad to have you here. I cannot describe the passion that oozes out of you two ladies, and it's just so exciting to see what it looks like in a district where we educate our learners from birth all the way through their educational experience. And I've seen the wonderful things that have been happening with across your programs in our community, and it's clear that that comes from your deep, deep passion. And so I'm extremely grateful to know you and to have you here and to share what you do with the community. I'd also like to thank Andrea and Sarah for being here tonight, but also for what you do with the organization for our students. Thank you for being at all the open houses. I remember seeing you there, and I think it speaks to how important it is to be present and show up and be there. Having 24 new families receive support this year is really, really wonderful, and so thank you for being there. Let me see, I had one more thing. We already talked about universal free meals, but I want to keep continuing to stress this, that what is ending is universal free meals for every student, no matter who those are. Students who have received free or reduced lunch previously, once that paperwork is filled out, will continue to receive that. This misnomer has been going around, not just in our district, but in others. So those students will continue to receive their meals. And like many have said, I'm looking forward to homecoming next week and all the fun that will be had. And hope our students and staff have a great and safe week.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. Ms. Murray.
All right.
none of my note-taking things were working tonight, so I'm all over the place. Thank you. So I am going to start with our two students, and I am both glad that they went home so that they can rest on a school night, but also am sad that they're not here to hear our words. But I do hope that they will go back and watch the recording. And certainly when and if I see them in the community, I will be sure to reiterate all that I am about to say. But I'm going to read what I wrote as though they were here. So, so first I want to say thank you so much to Zoe and Iana for your courageous decisions to speak tonight and to share your student experiences. You are both amazing representatives of Milan area schools, and I am so proud to know both of you. Zoe, the glow that you have whenever I see you around town these days or at school is evident from about 100 yards away. We, meaning the board, are very proud of you, but I sincerely hope that you feel pride in your growth these past years. I want to thank you for sharing so specifically about your academic needs and how your awesome teacher is partnering with you. That kind of feedback from our students is truly what fuels teachers, gets them out of bed in the morning sometimes, and fills our buckets, to refer to a sweet children's book. So truly, I want to thank you, Zoe, and just say keep going, girl. Please keep coming back and telling us all about what you're doing. And to Iana, I want to thank you for your courage to speak and share honest feedback about your educational experiences and challenges of late. Every student at Milan area schools is worthy of and should be supported during their journey of self-discovery while they are here in Milan area schools. That's what school is, from birth to adulthood. It's a journey of self-discovery, and all of us are worthy of, as Dr. Gutierrez said, being not only made to feel safe is a bare minimum, but we should be made to feel welcome and valued, and that our humanity is recognized and respected. So I'm sorry that you have not always felt supported as you've been on your journey. I don't take that lightly in the slightest, especially as I've had the privilege to know you, Iana, and teach you. And I want to commend you for taking powerful and meaningful steps, including being here tonight, and to bring awareness to your experience. There are many, many students who, as you said, are not able to do that as you're doing because they do not feel safe or they do not have the support system that you do. So I want you to know that all LGBTQIA+ students have my love and support and full commitment to advocacy from my position on the board. And as I've said before from this seat, the full humanity and dignity of all students is not up for debate in Milan area schools. So I agree that your existence is not and should not be regarded as political. And I want to thank you again for your advocacy and leadership in restarting the Milan GSA. That actually was quite active and very successful for many years, and then seems to have dwindled a little bit. So I'm extremely excited to hear that Iana is joining with others to lead that reigniting of that program. And I would encourage you, Iana, to connect with our community nonprofit, ARC Milan. I know that you are aware of them, but if you haven't already done that, they would be willing to re-partner, I think, with the Milan GSA. Okay, so thank you again to both students, and then briefly to Ms. Tapke also for speaking. It is so refreshing to hear joy in this room, especially when we spend so much time lately talking about the dirge that is among us all the time. So just so thank you, and I agree, there's joy in this community. There's joy in our school buildings and in our students and our staff, so please keep that coming. I want to thank briefly for the update about the DESA screeners. I am so excited to hear that that's continuing, and to be having it done 3 times a year is wonderful. I think it speaks extremely well to our whole child focus here in Milan area schools. We are not just here for the reading, writing, arithmetic, as they say. We are here to educate people and to help them grow into the best, most beautiful humans they can become. CTE millage signs, I saw some at the end of the hallway, but I have a direct source, so if anyone needs them, and I mean, board members, but also if anyone in the community would like a CTE sign and can't seem to find one, please reach out to me. You can email me at my board email, and I will assist you in getting one. We'd love to see a lot of support and awareness for that. Again, every voter needs to make their own decision, but the more we can get the word out, the more people we will have getting educated about that vote. I'm sadly not going to make it to homecoming. I will be traveling, unfortunately, but I want to wish everyone a safe and fun time, both at the game and at the dance. Have so much fun, and I'm sorry I probably won't get to see Mr. Midland play the trumpet yet again. I keep missing out on all of his fun stuff. I will echo, because it must be, thanks to Connie and Carrie for all that you do. I'm going to get emotional again. It is such a privilege to come to the adult ed graduation, and I keep missing the FCI graduation, but it is always on my heart, and just love hearing those testimonials. Yeah, birth to adulthood is what we do here, and I am so incredibly proud that we have the only prison program with an actual high school diploma in the country. That's ridiculously amazing. So thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for being what I've always believed incarceration should lead to, right? Which is full rehabilitation, full reintegration, and full ability to become a contributing and, whole person in society. So thank you. Whew. And then I'll close. Andrea and Sarah, thank you so much. Same. I hear about your advocacy in the little rooms and conversations and meetings that I'm in through the work that I do, and I just want you to know that it's making a difference. I'm hearing educators talk about that partnership. I am hearing evidence of families getting more connected and getting more information. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And thanks again, too, for your questions about MTSS. I thought they were extremely valuable questions, but they also provided a platform for education for others. So thank you. Appreciate it. That's it.
Clearly, I think Mr. Midland is competing with Ms. Bookout to win the greetings at the homecoming parade. So we will definitely take measure.
We'll walk together.
If he has a trumpet in the parade, then it may be over. I don't know. But no, that's awesome. It truly does take a village, and I appreciate everyone that's presented this evening. So, and I'm proud of the village that we have in Milan, and I'm proud of all the people that contributed to that. It's evident in what we do and what the staff and the community do. So, thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. Sislo?
Yeah, Mr. Burdett.
Just one last thing. So I gave a shout out to the football team. I gave a shout out to the band. I also wanted to recognize the cheerleading team as well. As the father of a cheerleader, I know how hard that they work. They had a 4-hour practice on Monday. They had another 3-hour practice today. And just the whole Friday night football package would not be the same without them. So I just wanted to make sure that they know how much we appreciate them as well. Thanks.
Or you would have been in trouble with Violet. Is that? Any others? All right. I need a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to 8(1)(c) of the Michigan Open Meetings Act for negotiation strategies.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Gutierrez.
So moved and supported to enter into closed session pursuant to section 8(1)(c) of the Michigan Open Meetings Act for negotiation strategies. Again, there will be no further business when we return to open session except for adjournment. Any other questions or concerns? All right, it's been moved and supported to enter into closed session pursuant to 8(1)(c) of the Michigan Open Meetings Act for negotiation strategies. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Pryor?
Yes.
Sislo?
Yes.
Burdette?
Yes.
Farrow?
Yes.
Gutierrez?
Yes.
Heike?
Yes.
Murray, yes. And motion carries 7-0.
All right, we are going into this closed session at 8:50 p.m. Thank you to everyone attending this evening. Drive home safely. All right, we are returning to open session at 9:32 p.m. and we are adjourning. Whoa, adjourning at 9:32 p.m.